our fellow Rhode Island scumbag Liam Cohen has the Jaguars in the thick of the playoff hunt despite the shakiness of Trevor Lawrence, and big part of that as well. They got Jacoby Myers being an adult in that passing room, but also they have Brenton Strange, missed 6 weeks, came back, 5 targets, 5 catches, a big-time performance in Week 12's win. So, Yash, do you want the 13% owned Brenton Strange on your roster, or do you want the 23% owned Mason Taylor of the New York Jets?
Ooh, as somebody who has picked up and dropped Mason Taylor several times this year, I would switch it up and I would roll with Strange. I just think he has a more defined role in the offense and a more consistent role at that. The touchdown that Mason Taylor scored did not even come from a quarterback's arm. So let's keep in mind, he's really not getting too many opportunities down near the goal line, unlike Brenton Strange, who is one of the more popular targets for Trevor Lawrence when he gets down in that red zone. So I will roll with Strange in this scenario.
Yeah, Taylor being used a little bit more like a traditional bring him along slowly tight end, lots of targets near the line of scrimmage. Yeah. And like you mentioned, very few red zone opportunities. Strange is going to get more looks near the goal line, but also he's going to get more looks downfield where he's creating a lot of separation. He's a little bit more athletic. He's been pretty solid with the ball in his hands after the catch. So this is a guy who can rumble upfield, create some mismatches, create some space. I want Brenton Strange as well. Next man up, talking about guys who can rumble with the ball in their hands. This is a guy who had, I think, 40 receiving yards, but 45 yards after catch alongside Shedeur Sanders in Week 12. That is Harold Fannin Jr., the prolific Bowling Green tight end who is now a key part of the rebuild in Cleveland. Yash, do you want Brenton Strange? Do you want Harold Fannin?
Oof. If I have Fannin already on my roster, I'm not dropping him for Brenton Strange. But if it came down to picking up one of the two, I'd have a more difficult decision. Here's my thing. What is Shedeur Sanders going to be? Because if he's going to be the guy we saw yesterday, then I'm rolling with Fannin because he peppered him yesterday. He was clearly one of his safety valves in that offense. So if it came down to what we're going to see from Sanders moving forward, I'm going to lean Fannin. But there's no guarantees in fantasy football. So Strange is going to give you, that stable 5-6 targets, catches a game. No, I'm taking the risk. I'm going with Fannin personally.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going with Fannin. I just, he's been up and down all year for us. It's depending on who the quarterback's been, but he's got tons of talent and he's super athletic. So yeah, I'm going to roll with the more athletic specimen in this case between the two, but I could be wrong, especially if Sanders.
I can see that. No, I got you on that one. I think for me, just Shedeur Sanders is so unpredictable right now and so difficult to trust. I appreciated that, like we talked about with Dylan Sampson, there were a lot of safety valve options where Kevin Stefanski was like, just get the hell rid of the ball. Do not run backwards. Do not take those sacks. And that's going to be great for Harold Fannin, who can catch the ball behind the line of scrimmage and rumble upfield to convert even third and long situations. Yeah. Strange for me, though. He's getting downfield more often. He is doing a great job hauling the ball in. He's got a lot of the same yard after catch abilities. So I think just from a baseline standpoint, you're a lot safer with Brenton Strange. And even when it comes to ceilings, they're pretty similar to me. So I want the Jaguars tight end. And finally, from one rookie to another, in fact, all 3 of our tight ends we're talking about are all rookies. This guy might be the best former Michigan tight end turned Chicago Bears Huckleberry for Caleb Williams. Colston Loveland, right now 47% owned. Yash, do you want Loveland or do you want Strange?
Oh, give me Colston Loveland all day in this situation. We've been talking him up the last 4 or 5 weeks now. His role is definitely starting to grow more and more each week. You're seeing Caleb Williams start using him more often. I'll take Loveland here. He had a touchdown again yesterday. So he's being used more and more as we move towards the end of the season. He could actually be a standalone flex. Never mind just out of your tight end spots. So no, I'll take Loveland pretty convincingly. If we're comparing the two, I'm not a big fan of Trevor Lawrence either. So I mean, between Caleb Williams and Trevor Lawrence, I'll take Caleb Williams. So give me Colston Loveland here convincingly.
Yeah, things I didn't think I would say last year, but I mean,
No.
just getting rid of Matt Eberflus was a godsend for poor Caleb. Last 5 games, Loveland averaging just under 14 fantasy points per game. In that stretch, Josh, 2.4 yards per route run. If that you extrapolate that over the whole season, that would be number 2 among tight ends.
Right.
This is a guy that is maximizing his opportunities, and he's thriving in a Ben Johnson offense that has a lot of skill players elsewhere that create a ton of room for him. We saw the learning curve early on, the same thing that happens to most rookie tight ends, but Loveland seems to be beyond that. He's getting more run than he did at Michigan, and he's been up to the task. So I agree with you there.
Yeah.
The floor is high now, and the ceiling is obviously even higher.
Yep.
I like Brenton Strange. If I can't get Colston Loveland, maybe I'm going back to Brenton Strange. Maybe I'm going to go ahead and drop Dallas Goedert and pick up Brenton Strange right now because Goddard has been kind of falling off, and I think we all know not to trust the Eagles' offense at this point. But yeah, man, Colston Loveland, I thought he was going to fail to meet expectations this season, but he's coming on strong, making me look like a real jerk for thinking that.
Well, it's all right. Keep in mind, he missed most of the preseason, so we all know how those rookies have a very hard time getting acclimated once the season gets going. So he's actually one of the more rare ones who has made it work, even though he missed part of the season. Usually those guys get buried for the year, so good on him.
Yeah, I mean, especially in an offense that already had Cole Kmet. Colston Loveland easily could have fallen by the wayside, been an afterthought. No, he's made himself undeniable.
Handpicked by Ben Johnson. He wasn't going to mess that one up.